Northgate, H2O flow, Sheep, getting that Morris, Release Fall, Shalon Davis, Hot House, check it. They say they wanna learn, they only debate, referencing the truth, trust me, they only sound the great. Study nationality before you question my estate. I'm not a minority, why you so late? Majority rules, here comes the test. Fact, that's my hand in the form of a V on the chest. That's a womb that is blessed like a moon and a crest. Major forever, infinite mindset. Major from birth, that's a seed in process. I'm a more that is easy to digest. Competent, never Terranilius. That is my land, never vacant. Sacred traditions, petitions for what you're not Jamaican. Westmoreland to Portmore, everybody needs more. We feel please more. Following the apostle, we should read more. I see the unseen more. We more. That's a fact. Dailyland.
They say they want to learn, complain classes are too long. Don't want it on a phone call, energy too strong. Get it from the wrong source, now they way off course. Think they must be Muslim and give up on all sports. Should give up the red meat, must give up on all porks. Won't be yelling harder when the bottles are uncorked. Eating with the spoon, use forks for tuning. Eating humble pie, no ego ballooning. Samson 2 caterpillars, got him cocooning. As the full moon hung, spiral energy moving. Up through the crown chakra, energy shooting. And told me upload classes before live YouTubing. 16,000 subscribers, 20% consuming. 80% troll pretending to be tuned in. Comment on every video, pushing the thumbs down. We'll push the link when we're live just like a clown. Pouring in the incompetence, always debating. Dissing Drew Ali but won't give their location. His image on the black banner, that's placation. Just get him out of here, Yusuf yells in frustration. We know they're playing games, we're not berating. Calling 911, scimitars penetrating. In defense of prophets and mothers abused. And newly awakened Moors, amused and confused.
So they study the actual cities and they monitor these particular things. Fortunately, the last 4 or 5 years, black people have gone to a certain savage level, and that's good. I'll tell you what I'm talking about here. When the Arabs was going across Africa, and right after Muhammad, they went across Africa, and if you didn't submit to Islam, they cut your head off and you died.
First time I saw the prophets pick like, whoa. No one ever told I feel sick like, bro. Stomach all churning what I'm learning like, no. Also have my own flag not burning like, no. Fez a turban on other nations like, whoa. What's wrong with your people's minds like, whoa. Wanna take pics and talk for hours like, yo. Never felt this reppin' black power like, whoa. Never felt this reppin' chematology. Most of your black leaders teach tricknology. Egypt is North Africa, so is Morocco. In the farthest west, Mecca is Chicago. Mississippi, Nile River, Grand Canyon, Pharaoh. I'm Moroccan native, they call the mother spaceship. Disrespect Malik L, call him slave named Malcolm. Speak truth, watch blacks have a tantrum. Masked up like phantoms, age of corona. Catch the Heineken virus, not improper persona. Fall victim to lymphoma, pineal melanoma. Like whoa, when I read the Treaty of Verona. Whoa, when I read the Protocols of Zion. With goosebumps drinking roots of the dandelions. Berries of the elders, grass of the lemons. Like whoa, how my people ride with these snitch felons.
People lost start telling like, whoa. Me felon. Oh, no. Twin towers explode like 9/11. times 7, like melting down the church bells to fill a weapon too sick, like Catholic priests playing with leeches. My wolf pack tear 'em apart, breaking the leashes. Bad night, bad mission, sad vision, past living, cash missing. I done seen it all before, like fast life. Alhamdulillah, Stephallah, cash life. Feds getting involved, switching on flashlights. Allah, we appear like Wallah. Shematar, make 'em calm down, Goose Rabba. CNN show the hoax on the repeat. Corona is over, now George on the repeat. Like, how would you survive? Everybody crash. Jesus, take the wheel, it's gonna be another rapture. Go to crisiscast.com right now, you'll see that we in the matrix. Right now, George Soros handing out paychecks. Right now, niggas mad 'cause they ain't get paid yet. Pipe down, I mean pope down. Pause all the savages, they only active to react to what is happening. What's happening? City ordinance, man's rights subjugate the womb, human trafficking.
Islam. GS is about to be crazy. Mufti's going wild.
All of that is black culture. You see, when I'm sitting down at the bus stop back in September, and I look down and there's somebody left a Bible there. And I guess the spirit was like saying, well, there's some stuff in there you need to go in and retrieve. And I opened the Bible up and it went to Moab. And then I saw a story on Turner Classics, the story of Ruth. All of this stuff is nothing but, no matter these white faces or whatever, we did live in other lands and we were a universal people. And these stories of our people, that's all over the earth.
Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone. Let the world know Drew Ali came. Brought a flag, religion, and free national name. Brought an ID card, don't flash at the hybrid. Learn about the righteous and when we were the pirates. Ancestral creed, clandestine heed. Warnings of the prophet, they can't intercede. Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite brethren needing new homes to Atlantis direction. North, South, and Central, flag continental. Founder and uniting of the Moorish holy temple of science. Nationality is alliance, always in defiance of their wardship compliance. Active, not passive, estate is massive. Use the compass, draw circles around your passions. Carpenter's tool in the man workshop. Corsica bandana, covered eyes in bird box. Return to ancestors' mind, descendants of ancients. Forget the mundane, knowledge attainments. Guided by the principles, our own laws and customs. If they teach but don't bring up Drew Ali, don't trust them. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone.
I told a Filipino woman about Drew Ali. We got more into the pedigree. She said she more. I said that meant more to me. Couldn't have this conversation a few years back when I was a few years black. 2,000 years I cried in tears, but I'm back. Still here, thought manifested from a higher tier. I appear spirit and flesh with divine warnings. Choose life or death. I heard my mother utter to the Negro, black her color, African American, and that's another. Moors, be yourself, no other. You're the last puzzle in place, now move others. Hatred, slander, lewdness, murders. The pleasure of the lower, rich in promise, so you can prevent effects from causes. Sow a seed planters, sow a seed growers. Deep in the soil, with love, truth, peace, freedom and justice. Born on a Friday, I put that on Venus. Created fate, Allah used a genius. You sent your last prophet to uplift me, so I gotta tell everybody. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone.
Serious? Nah, you're not serious, man. No, for real. For real? Serious. Iron Sheik said. Yeah. Peace and love to all the Moors. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Supreme honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the man. So Omega 10 asked, how can I go about doing business and such after correcting birth cert fraud with proof of life and such? Still SSN or EIN? Duns? Question mark. So the first thing is realizing that you're a Moor. First off, if you were classified Negro, Black, Colored, Indian, Indigenous, whatever, the reality is that you're a Moor. So if you're a Moor, you're making a claim to the Moorish Empire. You're connecting yourself to that. By connecting yourself to the Moorish Empire, you have to be prepared. And the only way that you're going to be prepared is if you study. So, for example, I go to a plantation every day. I go to a plantation. And they don't get Moorish name. Because that's a plantation. So my mindset is, why am I going to put the Moor on the plantation if I know that's plantation? Let the straw do that. Because for them, it's all paperwork. For the actual being, it's all about energy. So I didn't correct birth certificate and do all that stuff. Why? Because birth certificate has nothing to do with me. Like you said, it's fraud. So if it's fraud, why am I even engaging myself in this thing if it's fraud? And then if you're saying that you're going to go correct fraud, that's still fraud, because you can't correct fraud. You shouldn't have been doing fraud in the first place. Right? So how I go about doing business and such after correcting birth certificate or whatever like that, I do what Noble Drew Ali said. And Noble Drew Ali said, think and save yourself. Think and save yourself. Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, all old business, leave it as it is. All new business, do it in your free national name. Simple instructions. You don't change anything and do anything like that. All old business, leave it as it is. And all new business, do it in your free national name. That's how you go about doing business after such correction of whatever. Because I know that I know that it's a novice question. So because it's a novice question, you didn't get to experience yet to know what this is. You're still looking for something to be shown to you when, you know, for example, if let's just say, for example, your license has been suspended for the past 10 years and you never got stopped, ever. That's right to travel. Because you never got stopped. Because if you did, you already know it. They're going to do their stuff. So something had you on a certain frequency where you and them didn't cross. Something else. Nothing to do with this realm. Which again, you know, this might seem foreign because you haven't experienced it. So don't try to go about doing business as whatever after correcting whatever like that. Don't try anything. Sit your ass over there in the corner for a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 to 5 years, and study this information. Make it your quest to be familiar with here, be familiar with rvbaypublications.com, be familiar with morrisdirectory.com, be familiar with khalifamedia.com, and slow down. Because you know it's the Matrix. You know everything's an illusion. All that being said to say, make sure that you're studying. No one can tell you what this is. Unfortunately, man knows not by being told. Man knows by experience. So you have to be what you know. And if you don't know, don't try being some stuff because you're going to get injured. Then blame Moors. Right? Right? How to claim property and all this type of stuff. All that is advanced. If you're in this 5 years, you ain't ready to claim no house or anything like that yet. 5 years is nothing. You're not ready yet. No. And it's not a thing of, we're trying to stop you from doing whatever it is you think you should be doing. We're just saying from experience perspective, from someone who's been there, done that 500 times over, I would not concern myself with birth certificates and trusts and whatever, because you're eventually going to bump into somebody who's going to go into your pockets and you're going to give it to them just because of your ignorance. And then after you get played for 1,500, 2,000, 20 grand or whatever, after you paid them, then you're going to come to us and ask us, well, I paid those guys 20 grand, so how am I supposed to whatever? Why aren't you calling the people who you paid the 20 grand to? Like, why wouldn't you call them? Oh, well, I tried calling them, but I'm not getting hold of them. Okay, so why do you pay them? Well, because they said that they had this pet. So we're talking from experience. You watch some of these things and then you see Moors and you're thinking that they experienced something. They probably didn't experience anything. They're just a Negro with a fez on trying to tell you about whatever they're talking about. Right? Those are the passive Moors. Those are the Moors who you've been listening to forever. Now it's time to listen to the active Moors now. Now it's time to listen to the Moors who are being Moors. Because remember, this is a birthright. Somebody can't give this to you. So the only thing you could do is be a Moor. Somebody can't make you be a Moor. Once you know that you're a Moor, now you're a Moor being, whatever it is that you're supposed to be being. And it's only because everything, everybody wants the microwave dinner knowledge. That's the problem. Because they have the fear campaign going, so people think about time running out or whatever, when time's an illusion. Like, what are you talking about? Stuff goes by cycles. Once you have an idea where the sun is, you shouldn't have any issues. See where the moon is? Shouldn't have too many issues. You gotta find Orion's belt or the North Star, you'll be all right. So there's an article. Here's to the spirit of citizenship. Here's to the spirit of citizenship. And Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, watch the news, listen to the radio. He is going to make the European tell the truth. He's going to make them tell the truth. How come the Negro, African, indigenous leader, whoever's, don't tell you about the spirit of citizenship to their stuff that they're claiming you got to go join with them? And you know, don't get it messed up. Because we already had our prophet that came and told us that he was prepared by the great God Allah to warn his people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind of their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens. That's spiritual citizenship. We already know Drew Ali is the foundation of anything that any of these people are talking about. I don't care what they're talking about. You know, there was a time in history when anybody who claimed to know anything, everybody knew that they went to Hikupta to learn. And they couldn't play games like they went somewhere else because the only place to go to was there if you wanted to learn. There was nowhere else to go to. Right? So we know Drew Ali is the foundation to certain truth that's going to be revealed by others who don't look like you, and your boys say the white man, the white woman, and don't listen to them. But even they're on higher level than some of your Negro leaders. What is the process for putting them on notice after getting paperwork and card? Again, we're talking about divine right as citizenship. Spiritual citizenship is what we're talking about. Well, I'm a citizen of U.S.A. and all that stuff. Pledge allegiance to some BS. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about spiritual citizenship. Because citizenship has spirit. And if citizenship has spirit, remember, we're still talking about the process of putting them on notice and getting the paperwork and the card and all that stuff. We're still talking about that. Don't get lost. Metaphysical meaning of spirit. Spirit. God as the moving force in the universe. Principle as the breath of life in all creation. The principle of life. Creative intelligence and life. We sometimes discover within ourselves a flow of thought that has been evolved independently of the reasoning process. And we are, right, you mentioned process, right? We can't make up this stuff. We can't make this up like this. How are you asking about process and then the metaphysical meaning of spirit is telling you about the process? This is real time right now. This is real time. You're connected to the Akashic right now and getting downloaded. You think that this is some Canaan Land Mars IG live thing. You're in the Matrix if you think that. Yeah, you'll see where we're going with this thing, because remember, we're still talking about the process of putting them on notice and getting paperwork and card, right? After getting paperwork and card. We're still talking about that. In its beginnings, this seemingly strange source of knowledge is turned aside as a daydream. Again, it seems a distant voice, an echo of something that we have heard and forgotten. One should give attention to this unusual and usually faint whispering of spirit in man. It is the development in man of a greater capacity to know himself and to understand the purpose of creation. When one concentrates all the faculties on truth ideas, the conscious mind and superconscious mind blend, and there is a descent of spiritual energies into soul and body. Then the faculties receive new power to express truth, and the body is renewed. So, upon you getting your name correction and judicial proclamation, sealed, witnessed documents, your notice is supposed to be from spirit first. Your notice is supposed to be so they can give attention to this unusual and usually faint whispering of spirit in man, which is what you're getting off, what they're getting off the paper when they get it. When they get it, open it, and they start reading it, this is what they're supposed to be getting. The faint whispering of spirit and man talking to them, because all those people are in the lodges and all the different orders and whatever. So they already know what's up. It is the development in man of a greater capacity. What are you telling them in the paper? That you're not in the low vibration. You're not Negro, black, colored, and all that. You go back to the ancient Moabites, Hittites, Canaanites, and we're the founders of civilization. Doesn't that sound like development in man of a greater capacity? Shedding or dissolving the lower in order to raise the higher. So you ain't got no options left. You better want to be higher self, because there ain't no options. So spirit, everything that we just read, is meshed with citizenship. That's why Drew Ali could tell you about your divine right as citizens. Because citizenship isn't some paper thing. Again, with regard to notice, there's Moors who they had their proclamation papers for 6 months, a year before they put them on notice. because they had rituals to do with this paperwork before they sent it out. And just get it and then make copies and then just send it out. Right? They have their own ritual that they did. Why? Because it's a sacred obligation to citizenship. When you say we're saying we're Moors. There's Moors who their proclamation papers became the encyclopedia. And they didn't even send paperwork out until they knew everything on that thing. Back to front, sideways, upside down. You can't tell them anything. Right? Because it's a birthright. So if it's yours, people are gonna take it personal. As they should. They should be taking it personal. It's their birthright. It's your birthright that Drew Ali brought back to you. But he had to get to you in layers. So what do you say? If I give you everything, you go back to sleep. It's time for us to be awake. We're claiming we're woke, but we're not awake. Right? I'd rather be awake than woke. Right? Here's to the spirit of citizenship. In Theresa May's speech at the Conservative Party conference this week, one of the strongest recurring themes was the concept of citizenship. Having set up an organization called the New Citizenship Project, this is something I've been studying and working with for years, and I believe there's a whole lot more she could do with it if she wants to. Although, as with all concepts this powerful, she'll need to tread carefully. May introduced citizenship in her vision as the antidote to, indeed, the antithesis of inequality. We want people to get on, she said, but we also value something else, the spirit of citizenship. The spirit that means you respect the bonds and obligations that make our society work. That means a commitment to the men and women who live around you, who work for you, who buy the goods and services you sell. That spirit that means recognizing the social contract that says you train up local young people before you take on cheap labor from overseas. That spirit that means you do as others do and pay your fair share of tax. But today, too many people in positions of power behave as though they have more in common with international elites than with the people down the road, the people they employ, the people they pass in the street. Now they go on to rip her. Right? Because the idea of spirit being connected to citizenship, just like Drew Ali said, divine was connected to rights.
and that you have that. Certain people actually don't have that. And guess what they did? They started calling themselves you and stole all your stuff. Because you want to sit around and debate us as if we don't know what we're talking about when we're telling you what Drew Ali left for us. And Allah sent him. God, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call God, sent Noble Drew Ali for you Moors. All you Moors. Conscious, unconscious, all of you. And the purpose was for you to be better citizens. But remember, that's spiritual. It's not some physical stuff. The prophet pleads to the nation. Our divine and national movement stands for the specific grand principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I, the prophet, am applying to all loyal, faithful Moors, members, and American citizens to help me in my great uplifting acts of uplifting fallen humanity among the Asiatic race and nation. For I have suffered much and severely in the past through misunderstanding of what the movement was dedicated to. It is the great God Allah alone that guides the destiny of this divine and national movement. I know all true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of this free national republic of the United States of America. That's why I am calling on all true national citizens to help me morally and financially in my great work I am doing to help this national government. For without a free national name, without a descent flag of your forefathers, there is not a national divine title of the government in which we live. This is from your true and divine prophet unto all American and foreign sympathizers. You hear something religious in there? And if the great God Allah guides this not Noble Drew Ali, then doesn't that mean this is theocratic? And if it's theocratic, it doesn't mean that this is self-determined. And if it's self-determined, then doesn't that mean it's a birthright? And if it's birthright, isn't that the same thing Noble Drew Ali said? I, the prophet, am applying to all loyal, faithful Moors. Right? That's the one section of Moors. Members. And so there's obviously a difference between Moors and members. Who are these all faithful Moors? All loyal Moors. And then why are they separate from the members? Because this is a divine and national movement. All Moors are active, not passive. The passive Moors' place is fine. You don't want to do anything? You pretend that this is church. Here's your religious corporation called Moorish Science Temple. And you could do your membership and your adept whatever and do all your stuff that you're supposed to do. But there's a higher level of this that's outside of the temple. There's a level of this that is outside of the temple. That's Moorish American, same red flag, green 5-point star, fezzes, turbans, Holy Quran, Noble Drew Ali stuff on and whatever. This is the active side of it. The loyal, faithful Moors are loyal and faithful because of their activity, not because they're just sitting in the back and whatever. It's because of their activity why they're loyal and faithful. It's not because they're standing around doing nothing. It's because they've walked the path. They've paid their dues. In order for them to be loyal and faithful. Because that doesn't happen overnight. These Moors that Noble Drew Ali looked at and said, yeah, I know that there are loyal and faithful Moors. And I know that new Moors are going to come with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. And they're going to see what this Moorish stuff is. And they're going to do with it what they're supposed to do with it, that these jackasses around me didn't have the guts to do. Because they weren't supposed to sell out. But everybody did. And now you're looking at the messed up conditions and still not realizing that Drew Ali and what he brought is the salvation. I know all true American citizens are identified by their national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of this free national republic of the United States of America. He's not talking about that stuff above Mexico when he's talking about United States of America. 1920s? How's he talking about them when they're about to be bankrupt? Well, why would that be a free national republic if they're bankrupt? Obviously, he wasn't talking about that. Because the United States bankrupt in 29. So if you can go check and you can see that they bankrupt in 29, then obviously this free national republic of the United States of America is not limited to above Mexico. They're going to play today that that's the United States. But everybody knows that above Mexico is Morocco. Maghreb Al-Aqsa. Morocco, the farthest west. Ask any Arab and they'll tell you. And they'll be surprised that you know that over here is Morocco. How do you know that? Number more. That's how I know. And then they go in their wallet and they pull out their picture with their great uncle, whoever, with his fez on. Every time that's how it goes. Ask any more in this chat right here. So if they know that over here is Morocco, and we're talking about Canada, United States, and all that stuff, but this is our land, what do you think these people who are coming over here are going to do? What do you think they're going to come over here and do? You think they're coming over here to reveal secrets to you? Or they're coming over to take your stuff? Like they've been taking your stuff. Because you want to play Negro black colored and debate Moors. While these people are robbing your stuff right out your face. You name the nationality, they have something, and our people only have hoods, ghetto, and whatever else. That's theirs. Everything else is rental. They're a tenant. Everything else, they're not owner. Even if they own in Smith Jones Johnson, 50 car garage. Smith Jones Johnson on 550,000 million acres. You think that's theirs? Why do you think all these people end up just being puppets for the system? Same system you're complaining about. Right? Drawley told the Moors that you're looking at many different things, right? He's talking about true national citizens. So obviously there's fake ones. Obviously there's national citizens that aren't legitimate. But regardless of what, without a free national name, without a flag of your forefathers, you don't have any say. You don't have any respect. You don't have any honor. You don't have any. Zero. All you are is a ward. All you are is property. And property only belongs to corporations. The property belongs to corporations. And people are saying that's their government and they're citizens of that when that stuff just came in the 1800s. There's no way that they could be citizens of that if that came in the 1800s. How are we the founders of civilization, the black gods of Egypt and all that stuff, but we're citizens of some stuff that's 200 years old? That's our logic and our reasoning? That's our logic. And if that's our logic, look at our conditions again. And it's either you're going to change or the BS continues. And we're showing you that what Noble Drew Ali brought is the standard that everybody should be using. Free national name, right? We're Moors. Right? Ain't no name more free than Moors. That's the freest name you can get. Descent flag of our forefathers. Not our flag is the red flag with a green 5-point star. It's not ours. That's tradition. Noble Drew Ali had to go retrieve that flag. Nobody was talking about no Moroccan flag in the Americas in the 20s. As soon as you start talking about flag, now everybody got flag now. Not even a nation and they have a flag. And then for all the people, well, that's the flag of Morocco. Well, yeah, Morocco is an empire, not a kingdom. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. The authenticate the birth certificate and whatever. Birth certificate has nothing to do with you. Stop playing around. Your freedom is going to come from you obtaining knowledge. It's not going to come from somebody gave it to you. It doesn't work like that. A European can't make somebody a Chinaman. They can't do that. They can't do that. How? How are they doing that? A Russian can't make somebody a Congolese. You are who your ancient foremothers and forefathers were. So if our foremothers and forefathers were ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Moors, then how are we saying we're something else? And then talk all this scripture BS and then violating one of the most sacred scriptures of honor your foremothers and forefathers. And everybody got punished for not doing that. Anybody who didn't honor their foremothers and forefathers, they perished. And the stuff's still going on today. But they read scriptures though. They read scriptures though. This little paragraph was interesting. Speaking about nationality, it is a spiritual and psychological phenomenon, neither racial nor political. It is a spiritual and psychological sentiment of unity. In the words of Garner, nationality is a culturally homogeneous social group which is at once conscious of its unity. In the words of Bryce, nation is a union of men having racial or ethnographic significance. And again, make them tell the truth. That the longer you deny your nationality and your birthrights, the longer the struggle continues. Sometimes you want the struggle end to stop. But we already know, Drew already told these Moors, so we give them a handful saved. No, just pick out the one or two weevils and boil this rice, because people are hungry. Ain't nothing if you pick them out. We're just going to get the one or two out there. The one or two that need it. Because many don't need it. You know, many are straight in the illusion. You know, they're content with the red dress lady walking by. Once they get to see the red dress lady, they're good. Gandhi's the man. you study what it is that, when you study what Noble Drew Ali presented, you realize that there was a lot going on with the Moorish movement, and that all bases were covered. All bases were covered. Because Drew Ali himself, Drew Ali himself told the Moors that he came to save the nation. Right, again, in the proclamation to be read at each meeting. All true Moors. Obviously, there's the opposite of that. Don't be them. Don't be the violators. Be the liberators. Be the ones who lead by the example, that someone could say, yeah, I dealt with a Moor and it's something positive they're saying. Right? There's many taking this Moorish nationality and using it in a negative. Right? We already know what's up. All you newbie people, fence riding people, thinking you're going to give this guy 20 grand to get you off the fence. Right? And then you're still up there and you don't know what's going on. How come nobody came to help me get off the fence yet? Because you paid 20 grand. You'll learn then. But we're trying to prevent that. So we'll give it to those who want it. And those who want it will gravitate. But trust me, the amount of Moors that went underground, the amount of Moors who were out here as Moors, and then there's a, people are playing games and went underground. I can't even wrong them. Because our people, say like pulling teeth with dead people. Right? And Drew Ali said it too, hard head, stiff neck. They only learn at the point of a sword. That's how our people do. It's the only way they learn. From pain. They love pain to learn. The problem is when you're going to stop learning from pain. Give honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the Egyptian adept, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, the Prophet, for bringing us the truth about our nationality so we know that we're not Negro, black, colored, or any of the other fictions that came from slaveholders, that we have a nationality, just like all other civilized people on the planet. They all have a nationality. None of them play that they're some fiction, some color. None of them. So we give honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Because the lessons that he presented did save us. You can go in this chat right here and you could ask any of these Moors in here if this information saved them. And they'll give you some testimonials, make your head spin. Because that's how real this is. You know, Negro leader is going to tell you some stuff to make your head spin. Unless they're talking some metaphysics or something like that. And again, if you go fact check all of them, you realize that all of them learned from a Moor. Some Moor taught their master teacher. Name a master teacher. Bet you a Moor taught him. Bet you a Moor was their boy. Right. And you see all the pictures, even with Prince Whipple and all these Moors in the back just chilling, and all these pictures with the European whoever's just a Moor in the back, just looking at the lake, you know, just doing nothing. You wonder why that Moor is in there. Why is he there? Oh yeah, he's a slave of the slave guy. They got a slave master. Oh yeah, slave with a turban on, dressing in silks. A slave in silks, huh? Really? A slave called Prince? You ever check how many slaves were known as Prince? Myself, he was known as Prince. Maybe he was a prince, maybe? And if you're a prince, then that means he wasn't a slave, right? The prince, that means he has a birthright somewhere, right? Because obviously, they know he's a prince. Why would they call him prince if he's a slave? But our people, we don't get it. You know, which is all right, because it's what it's supposed to be. You know, that's what it's supposed to be. Learn the lesson and get the hell out. Learn the lesson and get out. Honors to the man, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to all Moors worldwide. Mothers, honors to you. Peace and love to all. Give Noble Drew Ali his honors. Don't play him, because it will get you after. Peace and love, Moors. Islam.
Where you murdering the beat?
Red flag, wave it. Red tag, save it. Red green, what that means? Morris Lands Bourbon. Who got claim LB? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so awful. Know thyself, the father from my hot capstone. Rip the ground, we put it back to top. See some real engineering. Really no Indies near here. Blackstone from the next planet. Still you have no talk, you just a stick faggot. Batman still up in the cave, he got some sick gadgets. Nigga rich run a whole city with no power till apocalypse now. In the door coward. Red flag make a 7 as it raised. A flag above many that has waved. Self I'm here to save. I'm an all-man, got a lot of lip chopped up to say back up. You see the black flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Morris Lands Bourbon. Who got claim Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain, all pristine and so off. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Morris Lands Bourbon. Who got claim Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lush and green was the porcelain. pause, some obscene, some cordial.
I value representation. This flag represents a nation. Collecting information, tracing our roots, not chasing, pacing our progress, doing more, saying less. Black, white, gray, MSF, RBG in our breath. The depth of what we do is best presented by how we grew. What's true is ear of the beholder to proof answers question over. Some call it closure. I prefer to say we open since we still scoping for knowledge and others now awoken. Hoping little to not prefer work, plan, plot, strategize to maximize the probability we saw caught between honor and a smart place. The decisions that we make, ripple effects minor or great, still I appreciate.
Red flag waving, red tag saving. Red green, what I mean, Morris Lance Bourbon. Who got claim Elbit, not the name MJ. Blushing green was the porcelain or pristine into all. Red flag waving, red tag saving. Red green, what that mean, Morris Lance Bourbon. Who got claim Elbit, not the name MJ. Blushing green was the porcelain, some obscene, some cordial.
50,000-year-old ancestral claiming, flag in the ground, hear the flapping fabric sound. Red for the bloodshed or celestial realms. When all you see is feathers and turbans, be overwhelmed. Standing on the squares, independent and fearless. From lower self to higher self, with no interference. 5-point star is her, we call her Venus. My niggas are Nagas, improper persona genius. In 3, 5, or 7 plus, whenever you see us. Moorish national disciples, Prophet Ali and Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. The same frequencies preceding all man-made religions. It's plain decency, secret teaching of the ages. The heart is where the life is. Osiris is Orion, Horus, Mars, Sirius, Isis. Clear conceptions of your work during a crisis. Rep my flag till I'm dust or the husk is lifeless. Rep my flag, red, green, 5-point star, no gold fringes. Stand on my square, no liberty infringes. No rights violated, no Negroes emancipated. All they know is castrated and decapitated. Red flag, 5-point star.
Red flag waving, red tag saving. Red green, what I mean, Morris Lance Bourbon. Who got claim Elbit, not the name MJ. Blushing green was the porcelain or pristine into all. Red flag waving, red tag saving. Red green, what that mean, Morris Lance Bourbon. We got claim Elbit, not the name MJ. Blushing green was the porcelain, some obscene, some cordial, tops turban.
أعطاني جنسيتي ورجعني لوحدي كنت أدور على طريقة وأنا لقيت عليه أعطاني جنسيتي ورجعني لوحدي.
I was searching for a better way and then I found Juale. He gave me nationality and brought me back to reality. I was searching for a better way, and then I found Juale. He gave me nationality, and brought me back to reality. I was searching for a better way. I found Juale, and he saved me. And I was searching for a better way and found Juale. He gave me nationality. He brought me back to reality. I was searching for a better way and then I found Juale. He gave me nationality and brought me back to reality. Tell you a little
story about a monster creature, the Negro. The Negro is the most deceptive creature on the planet. While his words move in a rhythm meant to hypnotize, he makes himself up to appear to be one thing today and another tomorrow, bringing innocent yet unaware believers to his side, to be fleeced by his minions and cohorts, while he yet lingers with the people, secretly sucking on their energies and living off of their virtues. He positions himself to cause them to believe that he suffers as they do.
He feels the pain which they bear, all the while growing fat from their energies, enshrined by their attention. He stores up so much of their borrowed power, he is able to produce monsters out of it. Reflections, illusions which resemble himself, appearing to be caring and comforting. These doppelgangers, these abominations he uses as diversions for his escape. Yet his destination is never far, for without the will of the many people to propel him, he is more or less a flightless creature. A creature of almost no substance and no will other than to survive. A cosmic nomad of nefarious origins, he has stumbled upon this planet, exiled from all other sentient civilized systems he once haunted. A being not so much living as lived, existing mainly within the lower, baser regions of the mind. Partial to no particular environment, complexion, or political system, he is a bounty hunter. A mercenary who subcontracts his work to willing yet unaware volunteers who forfeit their true profits to him. To the victor go the spoils, but to the Negro goes a more lively and valuable treasure. Like a leech, he grows off of the lifeblood of the living, infecting others and leading them to an existence of the same. An existence that projects scarcity where there is abundance, fear where there is love, and darkness that can only pretend covers light. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for leading us out of the darkness and into the marvelous light, and for reminding us that we are not Negro, black, or colored, but Moors. Much more. Much more. Much more. Much more.
I was searching for a better way, and then I found Drew Ali.
And being declassified from the human race and then brought down to a lower race that symbolized color. When we talk black, white, mulatto, he did not want us to be classified in these racial categories, but to be elevated back to the human race, where there was only one race, and that was called human. As he said in his famous speech, the Negro finds himself a slave in his own land. That means that, we have been consistently and constantly fighting, whether it be from Frederick Douglass, his writings, whether it be from W.E.B. Du Bois, his writings, John Henry Clark on the African writings, again, Drew Ali speaking about the Moorish history here in the United States of America.
Islam Moors, happy holy day to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to you. Happy holy day. We read an article the other day about Noble Drew Ali. And there was a link to push the link. So we pushed the link.
So your group is operating strictly according to U.S. law, needless to say.
Well, there's people that is against Sharia law, but they don't understand Sharia law teaches that you must obey the law in the country that you're in. Like, I can't come to your house and do what I want to do. You can't come to my house and do what you want to do. We have to have some type of agreement. For example, if I don't smoke, you can't smoke in my house. You can go outside my house and smoke. You go in my backyard or my front yard, but you can't smoke in my house because I don't allow that. Not to say, hey, you second says, no, that's your habit. That's your prerogative. But here, we don't smoke. So like now, I just wouldn't pick up from the airport. They got an area in the airport say smoke zone. Everything else say non-smoke zone. So the government has a right, and the corporations have a right to say, you can do that here, but you can't do it.
Oh, so they know that it's a corporation. Right? They know that it's a corporation. He's talking about people creating certain zones and all this. So he's making reference to government. But he's making reference to government, and he's making reference to Sharia law and follow that. And these are supposed to be Moors that are saying they're down with Noble Drew Ali? These are Moors. These are the Moors who let the foreign Muslims. These are the Moors who let the foreign Muslims speak from their pulpit. These are those Moors. These are the Moors who don't call themselves Sheikh. They call themselves Sheikh. They call themselves that. That's not Moorish. Sheikh. You're a sheikh of something. That's not Moorish. That's not Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali, I didn't say anywhere in anything of the literature nobody's talking about Moors are sheikhs. I'm talking about Sharia and all this. What are they avoiding? What are they avoiding? They're avoiding Noble Drew Ali and his divine warning to the nations. Because anybody who's modern European or whatever like that, you want to interview the Moors, they always go get these jokers. They always go get all these traders of Noble Drew Ali, and they never go to a credible Moor to ask questions. Right? I am hereby calling on all true citizens, not the fake ones, the true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens, not the fake ones, the true American citizens of the United States of America. You hear him you hear him say enforce anything other than the Constitution? So if he didn't say, if he's telling you in divine warning, if he's telling you in the divine warning, enforcement of the Constitution, right? He's letting whoever wants to support him know that there's a standard. The people who support this are going to be the ones who stand for constitutional anything. They'll be down with what Moors are saying. Because Drew Ali was calling on the true citizens that stand for a national free government. If it's free, you think it has something to do with some Europeans? Some modern Europeans who came over here and got taught by our ancestors? You think what we're doing as Moors, as Moorish Americans, has something to do with them? Shouldn't. And it only does because of color. Because everybody wants to play color games. Nobody just wants to read divine warning and tell the people this is it right here. They want to bring you into Sharia law and trust law and contract law and all this other stuff, and they ain't read to you divine warning? That you haven't even shifted your mindset yet from you don't need them, it's time to do for self. that no matter what it is that you do, something better be going back to the nation. I don't care what you do. What are you doing? Six-figure, whatever, no problem. Do your thing. Just like the Jews, make sure you pay your stuff to the nation. Especially if you're pushing some six figures and all that. All you got to do is give people what Noble Drew Ali presented. You think we're a temple still after all? You know how many temples started and fell since 2008? You know how many groups came and left since 2008? Many fell. Many tried to talk crazy about us. They're not even around anymore. Non-entity. Then what? We're still here. You still think it's not real? This Noble Drew Ali established this. He said in the paper, Moral Science Temple, Toronto. So now it's here now. We're the manifestation of the prophecy of Noble Drew Ali. Prove his prophethood. There was nothing here. We came from here. There was nothing here called Moorish anything. Nothing. Now, Moorish all over the place. To the point where people who were with us that left and started connecting with Moors south and wherever else, and then coming back here and saying that they're the official ones and all that, when they came from us. So, because we ride with Noble Drew Ali, they can't. Do you know we found dead rabbits and stuff like that on the doorstep of our temple? Do you know people threw rocks through our window and stuff like that? You know Dolo, King of the Moors? You know him? He sent somebody to hold feces and wipe it all over our temple. All over the door, outside, all on the window. Feces everywhere. Dolo, King of the Moors, did that. Guess what? Still here. Think this is some joke? It's not a joke. You know, like we said, since the 90s, only the realists feel this. Everybody else, yeah, do your thing. We'll be over here behind the veil. So Drew Ali told you enforce the Constitution. You tell you about ordinances and statutes and codes and whatever by some European, follow that. Some act that they made so you can get a mortgage, you're going to follow that. That's not what Drew Ali said. Drew Ali said enforce the Constitution. Why are they playing games with you? Unless they're the ones that sold out. It's not rocket science. Use your common sense. Oh yeah, they don't got you using your common sense. Sense is not common right now. Everybody wants dollars. And then that's not even dollars, because dollars is gold and silver, and you got paper and credit and all this stuff, and you're obviously not connecting stuff properly. Because you don't see what's happening right in your face. And Moore's been telling you, study, study, study. I don't care if they say they got whatever for you that's going to save you from the whatever. Cool. No problem if they have that. Still study. If they say $8,000 and you want to pay, cool, no problem. Still study. Because you think it's a joke that there's nobody coming to save you? Like, you better manifest your reality? Like, you think it's a joke out here? You think it's a joke out here? The only people who really survived were the ones who didn't miss a beat. That they just continued like nothing's going on. Yeah, I'm gonna go here, gonna go there, gonna get this, gonna get that, gonna put this in place, and then, you know, how many places fell? How many places are still around? You're the joke. You want to claim that you're anything? Doesn't matter what you call yourself. You're the joke. Honors to all the Moors worldwide who know about their nationality and their birthrights. Honors to you. You know that you're a Moor. You're Moorish American, whatever. You know about your nationality? Honors to you. Okay, what nationality is legit, could be verified, not some fake banner calling that a flag and all that stuff. If you know about nationality, honors to you. Stay honorable. Fence riders, this is what you're up against.
Today, that's what we say. So we abide by the laws of the United States government based on what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. Prophet Noble Drew Ali clearly stated that no rules, regulations, here or laws should violate any city, any town, city, or state or national law. Our laws do not violate that. We're in alignment where we live at. We don't come to our house and burn it down just to make you mad. This is one of the reasons why we stated that those of the rise of the Moors and those that accept their teaching or follow behind them are not Moors because they ain't what the prophet brought.
Now hold on. Now remember, Noble Drew Ali said, I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of government. Now, it's real interesting that individuals, specifically the founder, Jamal Bey, before they were Moors, they had oaths to the Constitution. They had an oath to that. They found about nationality, proclaimed their nationality. Now they're saying that they're Moors, but they're not claiming that anymore. You think the constitutional stuff goes somewhere? You think they just forgot about that? Put that in the trunk with all the rest of the stuff and then lock the stuff away? No, that's not. Constitution came with them when they said declare and proclaim their nationality. So when the Second Amendment talking about well-regulated militia, and they're calling themselves militia, and then they're saying free state is supposed to have a militia, and then the Moors aren't slaves because we're not Negro black color, so obviously we're free, and our free state is Morocco, which is North America. What don't you get? That was your army, military, police force, beat cop, security for the store that you got, whatever. That's what that is. That was on the highway going wherever they were going. That's nobody's business because they're part of a free state. But here come these Moors. Oh, people who are doing what the Rise of the Moors doing, oh my gosh. They're not Moors. They're not following Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali said you have to follow the city ordinances and the statutes and the codes because that's the law of the government. That's how they talk. When Drew Ali said enforce the Constitution, you tell me Rise of the Moors wasn't enforcing the Constitution by having a Moorish militia? And you think them kidnapping the Moorish militia and still having Moors locked up right now, even though some are released, which should also let you know that, you know, something's going on here, you know what I mean? If everybody's vaccinated, where's this new stuff coming from? Can't be from the unvaxxed people, because they don't got nothing. That's why they're unvaxxed. What do they need vax for? So how is it you're sitting there now? Remember, it's the same thing going on. Bait and switch. They bait you that they're doing something wrong. And then they bring Noble Drew Ali in to make you think, yeah, Noble Drew Ali's... No, he didn't. He didn't say follow statutes and ordinances and all that. Noble Drew Ali didn't say that. Right there it says enforcement of the Constitution. You don't see these ordinances and none of that mentioned. People playing games with you with fezzes on. And you want to know as Moors why our conditions suck. These people. You thinking it's some Mason that knows about the secrets, not giving it up. No, it's these traders right here. Why your condition as Moor. We're not talking about Negro, black, color conditions. We're talking about in the Moorish nation, empire, organization, group, temple, whatever you want to say, whatever, if Moorish is on it, you know stuff sucks right now. Spiritually, things amazing. Physically, stuff sucks. Why? Because of these people. Because they're going to explain that they're with the government. They're in the jails and, you know, make sure that guys, when they're in the jail, they can get the... And they're not telling you they're getting paid by the IRS and all that. Because they're set up like a corpse. That's why they call themselves Moorish Science Temple of America, 1928. Moorish Science Temple of America, Inc. Moorish Science Temple of America, the great grand of the... All those are corpses. That has nothing to do with Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish nation. Nothing at all whatsoever. They're not done.
I have the second choice. Go ahead.
They're not Moors because why, sir?
Because they're not following the prophet laws. For example, there was nobody called himself Moorish American until Prophet Noble Drew Ali came.
Now, because no one was calling themselves Moorish American before Noble Drew Ali came, does that mean there weren't Moorish Americans? What are Brazilians? Aren't Brazilians Moorish Americans? Aren't Mexicans and anybody who's in America that's descendant of Moroccan, aren't they Moorish American? The Noble Drew Ali say, we are an organization, or Noble Drew say, we are a nation. Go through the literature. See where Noble Drew Ali said, you are an organization, religious corporation. Or see where he said, you are a nation. Oh yeah, and remember they're saying that Rise of the Moors aren't Moors because they don't follow what the prophet brought. When the prophet said enforce the Constitution, and if anybody is doing what the prophet said, it's the Moorish militia, because when they were in whatever military stuff, they had oath to the Constitution, which was to enforce it. Even as Negro, black, whatever. even as Negro, black, colored, they were standing for the Constitution because they were part of this club called military stuff. They were already on it. All they had to do was have a nationality. Obviously, that's a problem. If you don't think that's a problem, they want you to not be a free state. They want you to stay subordinate to them. When this is not it's not subordinate time right now. The priesthood is dead. Take off all the black fezzes. Everybody put their red fez on. Priesthood is dead. Every man has to be himself a priest now. And man includes mother. These people are playing organizational games, religious corporation games. That's not what Noble Drew Ali brought. These people are in violation.
The proof of that, I done went so far back in time, I done went to the Negro cemeteries across the country, where only Negroes, colored people could be buried. I went through the file, and I found one or two people, somebody named Randolph, such and such was the Moor, but his name wasn't Il Abay or Ali. I seen a couple of people, names that said they was Moors, but they had no Ills and Bays on their name. There was nobody with Ills and Bays on their name except for foreigners. You know, like Kareem Ill, Mohammed Bey, all of them came from overseas here. But there was nobody born in America. Even if you look under the laws of Virginia, they separated the Moors from the Muslims, the Mohammedans, and told them in 1748.
Now, if Atta Bey is before Noble Drew Ali, if Atta Bey is before Noble Drew Ali, what are these people talking about? They have days in Guyana. That's South America. They have days there. You're the one played if you're not studying to know how to separate the BS from the truth. Because the truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. You're getting that guaranteed. You're not getting no full stream of truth. You're getting some falsehood in there. And you have to be able to see these tricks of the trade. Because these people, you know, these people are gray or whatever like that. They're finesse masters. They've been finesse masters. They know how to talk you to the cup, the stirring cup. They know how to talk you to get out. And then you can't get out. You can't leave. Because you have some emotional attachment because they gave you the information for the saved you. And then, yeah, but they were rubbing on your knee and stuff like that. What are you talking about? Yeah, well, they made my shot the best shot. Yeah, but they were raping you. So what are you talking about? Of course, it's always going to be your own. It's always going to be your own.
But they couldn't have no Europeans as slaves anymore. And they distinguish between the Mohammedans, who are Arabs, and the Moors that are Arabs. But none of them Moors had Il and Bay on their name. So, looking at this, and these people saying they're Moors, like I said, I talked to the leader about 4 or 5 years ago, and I told him, you're not a Moor. If you're not going to follow the laws, you're not going to say, how you going to be a man?
How How are you telling somebody they're a Moor or they're not a Moor? How do you do that? How is it? This is a Supreme Grand Sheikh or whatever. How's a head of the Moorish nation looking at Rise of the Moors, Moorish militia, looking at them physically, had conversations with them, and telling them that they're not Moors? How is he doing that? Does his hand extend past Allah's? He must think his hand extends past Allah. Yeah. Is he the Moor's mom? How is he taking away nationality? And mom can't even do it. Is to have a slander campaign against the Moors being free. The Moor being free. Yep, and then you see the gold fringe flag back there. Lets you know that they sold you out. Right? Exactly. The gold fringe flag. They're with the demos. They're with the demos. They're with the keep you out the constitutional fold, because you'll see this and you're either gonna get in it, then you're caught in the jurisdiction that they created, which is gonna keep you a member forever to some BS. They're not even doing anything for the nation. If they're gonna say certain people aren't Moors, they're not doing anything for the nation. Right? It's gonna be that. Or it's going to be you saying, this Moor stuff is some BS. And then you're going to go over there and get into some other BS. That's worse than this, that you should have just stayed put. Once you found out that you're a Moor. But nah. You give up your birthright, which is abandonment. And once you abandon, then you're done for. Why do so-called blacks hate law so much? Because they don't know. It's just what it is. People die for a lack of knowledge. There's one more part.
Uproot and they hung themselves.
Yeah.
They hung themselves with that fictitious idea. Yes, sir.
What seemed really crazy to me was when, you know how Jamal Latimer was streaming video from the stand-up.
Right. Like that's denationalization. Because while they were going live on Facebook and IG and YouTube and everything else that they were going live on before they shut them off, they put their free national names on the record. There was nobody there called Jamal Latimer. There was nobody there called that. That's a psyop. When you hear Rise of the Moors, there's no such thing as Jamal Latimer. Quinn Buckelheimer, whatever the hell lie they want to call his name or whatever. But that was denationalization. And then they're going to play the fool with it because people are locked up. But they're not going to talk about the people that they released that have the same charges.
Off on Facebook. He was streaming that live. And what I thought was really crazy about that deal is that when you watch that video, he brings up the fact that he's a Marine, and he says that he took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So on one hand, he's appealing to this oath he took as a Marine, that I've got this duty to support and defend the Constitution, but out of the other side of his mouth, he's saying, well, I'm not obligated to obey your Constitution anyway. I'm not even a citizen. So he contradicts himself.
You know, when I was young, I watched this movie with Earl.
Right? And then his thing is that he never answers a question. He goes into some story talking about some BS. Right? That's the angle with this Uncle Ruckus right here. Right? He is going to tell you a story to lead you off. And we know Moors who went to his temple and he got the pistol in the drawer talking about you can't bring up Taj Tariq Bey in here and all that type of stuff. We know Moors who been to their temple. Right? People are traitors to the cause.
Fleeing in it. Antonio or something like that. And the guy on there used to say about the people say they go which way. Say, no, they don't have to say they go which way. You had to sit down with that person. What would you diagnose them? Would they be schizophrenic, narcissistic, or just, I can't say it because my wife said I can't call people crazy or retarded. She almost forbidden that word in my house for me to call somebody retarded or crazy, so now I have to say which way.
I personally have a degree. I'm not trying to brag or anything. You know, I'm just telling you what's true. Personally, I have a degree in psychology as well. I have an undergraduate degree in psychology. And I'm not qualified to diagnose anybody with anything, right? But if I had to make an informal assessment of this Jamal Latimer guy, I would have to say he's completely narcissistic. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else around him.
When the real narcissists are these people who think they're smarter. The real narcissist is the one who's talking against the truth. Because the truth is, anybody in military, army, whatever like that is going to have to take an oath to the Constitution. Anybody in law, they're going to have to take an oath. And if they're taking an oath, that means they're going to defend that. Moors, under the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, are taught to enforce the Constitution. By enforcing the Constitution, we shut all these people up. Because they're going to be standing on what the democracy is standing on. They're not going to go with the Constitution because that means that it's free. And if it's free, now we can do something with our Moorish militia. Which is why they're going as hard as they're going with Moors, who said they're going to be a militia for the Moors. And they looked death in the face and said they're not playing with that stuff. But because it was constitutional, they trapped themselves. Which is why Moors are home right now, who had the same charges. So then why doesn't everybody go home if everybody had the same charges? But you're not putting this thing together that something's wrong here? Yet, still? As Moors, they're still talking crazy about Moorish militia? As Moors? That any other whatever crime, they would at least had trial already. They would at least, somebody would have been sentenced for something. And people are no flight risk or nothing like that. Where are they going? There's COVID. Where the hell are they going? Obviously, they can't leave anywhere. They don't got the vax, so they can't go anywhere. So, what? This is obviously some personal vendetta thing against the Moors. And they had, 11 people as a scapegoat. Now they got, what, 5 left. And then how many ever they gave the little deal. Remember, we got the message with the deal. That, renounce all that BS that you've been saying and, give us jurisdiction. So hold on a second. So that means that they don't have jurisdiction then. If they're admitting they don't have jurisdiction, then wouldn't that mean that they're criminals? Because if they know they don't have jurisdiction, then why are people locked up and all that? How are people locked up when they're not supposed to have jurisdiction, and then they're admitting it in writing that they don't have jurisdiction, so we want you to say that we have jurisdiction so we can have jurisdiction? Interesting deal. Pretty interesting deal. But that's just so you know that they're playing games with you. You better know that they're playing games with you. All these people. The people who kidnapped them, these Moors, this guy, Brian Birmingham, all of them are playing you people. Peace.
Peace.
Peace, love. Happy holiday. What's good, More? We're just talking about you.
What do you say?
He said he was just talking about you, how thing about how they were trying to get Tariq to sign that, about jurisdiction.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have anyone else sign that though.
Nope.
Oh, just him?
Yeah, he didn't sign it though, but they were trying to get him to sign it.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, they're playing games right now. They're playing games.
Yeah, they were trying to break people when it wasn't working, so they're trying different strategies.
Right.
They think, well, if we let a little bit of them go, then the other ones will say what we want them to say. Oh man.
Yo, we were saying if this was any other case situation or whatever, people would be home waiting for their trial.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is some BS, yo.
Yeah.
This is some BS. Like, I don't know what's going on, but this is some BS.
So the guy Daniel Thompson, who the magistrate appointed as standby counsel, told me out of his own mouth that he has clients who are facing the same charges in their home.
Yeah.
Same exact charges.
Okay.
So it's obvious discrimination against their national origin.
Yeah.
Like 10 times over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they want us to, fold so that way the trolls out there that have been talking down on us can say, see, we were right. When no. Like it's just like when Malcolm X said, El-Haj Malik said, the media will have you hating the oppressed and loving the oppressor. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. It's freaking sad. Because we're talking about
I was on D-Pod with an elder, and there's two women saying that he hit them, and he got text messages from both of them. One of the text messages says, "I know you didn't hit me, nigger, but I want my money." That's entered into the court record as evidence. He's still in jail. The second message says, "I'll drop these charges if you give me crack." That's what the second text message says, filed on the court record, and he's still in jail. So how is it that the injured party they're both admitting that he didn't do shit? One of them wants crack in order to drop the charges, and now he's still in jail.
What the hell?
But where's the justice in that? Where's the well, these people are legitimate courts, so where's the justice at?
Yeah.
Why is he still in jail? And you can't say, well, if he had priors, he was on probation and he violated. Well, obviously not if they're admitting that he didn't do anything.
Exactly. If they're admitting he didn't do anything, what is the problem here?
Yeah.
The problem is the system. The system's what's the problem.
Yep.
And,
the democracy is just a continuation of the Inquisition.
Yep. Yep. And we see the vision with Moorish militia about us being organized.
Not just that, us not dying. Because remember, there was a bunch of Moors saying, "Oh, if you go out in the streets with guns, they're going to shoot you down." Well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Facts.
And you know how the story goes of the unarmed black man died. Well, the armed Moorish group, no one died.
Right.
And we weren't hostile, aggressive, nothing. We weren't screaming and yelling, "Moorish lives matter," none of that shit. You're not government, none of that. And we're alive. So what happens to all the fear mongering of if you bear arms to protect yourself, you're going to die. The police are going to just kill you. What happened to that?
Mm-hmm.
No, because
the lie always switches. What'd you say?
The excuse is always no, because they bombed Black Wall Street.
Yeah, these people always have some type of fear excuse as to why we shouldn't do something.
Yeah.
When the Prophet told us to inspire the youth so that way they dare to do wondrous things. We can't inspire the next generation if we're fucking cowards.
Right.
Every nation has a military. That's just a fact. Your body has a military. It's called your immune system. And it fights against foreign invasion. Every single nation on this planet has a military. If we're a nation of people, then what does that tell you we should have? If we're supposed to take our place amongst the affairs of men.
1 and 1 equals 12.
And also remember, no one died. So what are you afraid of?
Yeah. Islam.
And people are home. So what are you afraid of? You know, they're going to disregard the 5 or 6 more that are home with their loved ones already. And they're going to say, oh, well, Jamal's still in jail, so, okay. And?
Yeah.
What you scared of? The other Moors are home. They're home. On these quote-unquote terrorist charges that the media say, oh, they're terrorists. How are we home then?
Yeah.
Oh, they broke all these laws. How are these people home?
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're anti-government.
How are they home then? And they know, because remember I said we're a militia from Rhode Island going to Maine, which means they know none of us are from Massachusetts. So how are these people home? How these excuses of they hold people as quote-unquote flight risk, but they know we were coming from a different state and going to another state, which means we're not residents and we're not citizens of Massachusetts, but they let 6 people go home. 2 of which have been home since July or at least August.
Yeah.
You know, the prophet already told us they're going to try every weak mind so that way they can overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. It's not hard. It's not complicated. They have me in jail and other Moors in jail to scare you, to try to prevent you from defending yourself. Read the Black Messiah Act. They already tell you what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you still believe them? So they tell you we're slapping you at 5:30 and you show up at 5:30 in your Sunday best and you complain with respect?
Yeah.
That's your fault.
Exactly.
You know, they just showed how they failed on Malcolm X's murder investigation. They failed. 2 innocent people went to jail. One of them fucking died. What more proof do you want?
Yeah.
That these people aren't just. And they didn't even apologize. They just said, "Oh, that's bad." They didn't even say sorry. They just said that was a bad thing. They just made a statement, and it's going over people's feathers, going over their weaves. You know, don't let the situation that the few of us are in, you know, dictate how firm you are in the science. Because remember, they put the prophet in jail. Then they let him go.
Exactly.
They try to charge him with murder. The M word.
Exactly.
So, if our prophet went to jail, damn near every prophet went to jail. Jesus went to jail. Fucking Moses was in jail. Jacob was in jail. Joshua was in jail. So what you scared of?
Pac, Big, Wu-Tang, everybody been to jail. What's the problem?
If you go to jail and go to the military and then go back into civilization, you'll see civilization is jail, at least in North America. So you ain't even really free. So stop acting like you're missing out on something. Besides, obviously, intimate relationships with a woman, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
That's what magazines are for.
Yeah. That's what's up, boy. Just keep your strength up. You'll be home soon, yo. They can't keep this up too much longer.
They can't keep this
up too much longer.
They're
yeah,
mad
they're just
because
mad.
they thought we were like everyone else who just reads one sentence about, you know, more science, and then they think that they're the Sultan of Morocco all of a sudden. And they thought that we were dumb niggers just being niggers. Like, nah, you trained me. Too bad. You done fucked up and let us join the military.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they didn't think the ancestors would come again.
What do you say?
He said they didn't think the ancestors would come again.
Yeah. The Moors need to read the first sentence of Caveat Emptor. Moors of men upright, independent, and fearless. Hashtag fearless. Keyword. That's the key word right there. Since you like DJ Khaled, major key or whatever the fuck he said. Major key. Fearless. You gotta be a thinker and fearless and care for your loved ones. How can you claim to care for your loved ones while your people are being murdered you know, our people talk to any Asiatic in North America and ask them, how do you feel when red and blue lights are flashing around you? How do you feel? Do you feel safe? They're gonna say, fuck no. So how do you make your people feel safe? You show them how to defend themselves. Martial arts. When you look up the word martial arts, you'll see firearms is listed in there because it's an art. There's a whole science to pulling a trigger and hitting a target. There's an entire science behind it. And most of it is based off of breathing, which is spirit. So every time you pull a trigger, it's spiritual.
Yeah.
Because literally, there's something called a natural respiratory pause. Respiratory, spirit. Natural respiratory pause, which is when your body is as still as possible, and that is when you pull the trigger. And you hit your target every single time. What's more spiritual than breathing? And everyone studies martial arts for self-defense. Every single martial art, the core of it is self-defense. And guess what the federal judges said the core of the Second Amendment is? Self-defense.
Self-defense.
Imagine that. Wow. That's so adept knowledge. Basic stuff.
From the Dismal Crips, from the real Dismal Crips.
Yeah.
The knowledge is still flowing. They can't even stop it. The knowledge is still flowing.
Like we said, there's Asiatics nationalizing in here.
For real, that's what's
Some
up.
people are dumb, they're just misinformed.
Yeah.
And then, in jail, you got nothing to do but listen. You got 24 hours to just listen.
Those sessions must have been crazy. Those sessions must have been crazy. Oh, man.
And then when you start talking to the Asiatics from Africa, and you start talking like a Moor, they literally realize that you're not a nigger. Literally, they say you're different. They say, "How do you know so much about Africa? How do you know so much about history?" Well, because I'm not a nigger. And then they laugh. And then you start talking about how people with nationalities and people with cultures are different from niggers, and they agree. And then once you start explaining stuff to them, they start to say, "Oh, I never really realized that blacks not having culture, not knowing who they are, that was the root of the problem." They start to look at us different, and they start to respect Moors.
Yeah.
And they're able to distinguish between the Moors that know and the Moors that fucking don't, based on how you act, because that is culture. That's why when you look up nationality, you have 1 minute left. That character, that quality or character which arises from one's birth, that's culture. That's nationality. How you walk, how you talk, how you act, how you treat people, how you treat your women, how you protect your family, how you provide for your family, how you provide, the spirit of nationalism, of unity. Africans understand that because they got nations. They got culture. They got history. They fight for their shit. We argue about, well, Jamal wasn't really a Marine. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? You got bills to pay, and you worry about that?
You have like 30 seconds, if anything.
Yeah.
I'll call back. I can call back.
Islam one.
All right. Peace.
Yeah, I don't know how long this thing's gonna go for. I don't know if it's gonna cut off, but yeah, if he calls back, just jump back on.
All right. All right. Thanks, Jess.
All right. Thank you. Islam, mother. See, you can't make it up. That's how real it is. That's how real it is. Just around the frequency of Drew Ali. Allah guides us. When was the last time anybody heard from Jamal? Anybody? In a while, huh? All the people who used to go on their IG and YouTube religiously, go to their things. When was the last time you actually heard the voice, like real time? In a while. How was it for you to know? and you still hear the same conviction as you heard before. Not that in there's fun or anything like that, but you know, once you study, there's nothing. They can't budge you, regardless what they do. They can't. They're not able to budge you. They're mad. Suppose they just say, okay, you know what? We're mad. You guys shouldn't have did that. You made us look dumb and all that stuff. So, you know, we're just mad. Okay, we get it. Sorry. Didn't mean to get you guys mad. You know, everybody apologize, get their stuff back, and they go home. You know, no big deal. You got dunked on, now you want to fight and stuff like that. Well, you want to fight. You know what I mean? Like, what are you fighting about? Part of the game. So you heard. Still on it. In there, on it. And like we were saying, based on the demeanor over the phone just now, there ain't no worrying about something or whatever like that with those Moors. Especially since some Moors already came home. So it's only a matter of time. I mean, you know, are they going to play this game forever? They can't play this game forever. You know, they're trying to teach people a lesson. You know, using somebody as an example. I mean, they're super mad. They're mad. They're like
Islam.
Super mad. Islam.
You're back on, Jamal.
Peace more.
Peace. Julie told me what you said, and I responded was, you know, how am I supposed to not be a Moor just because I'm in a different room?
Yeah.
So, like, I'm a Moor in my kitchen, but not a Moor, you know, when I take out the trash.
Oh yeah, they were saying how you didn't follow what Noble Drew Ali brought.
You know what's crazy? The Prophet said, the further you are away from me, the closer you're getting to me. So, thanks. Thanks for letting me know I'm close to the Prophet. Oh, man.
For real.
But I was telling her about the interview that you were just playing between the sheikh of the MSTFA and this random supposed psychologist from who is this guy?
Brian Birmingham. Brian Birmingham. But yeah, the whole thing that we stopped at was where they were saying that they're diagnosing you as a narcissist.
I'm glad they can figure that out by one video.
Wait. Do I get medical disabilities for that, or what? Do I get paid?
You'll have to ask the psychologist guy, because he's the one.
I qualify for SSI and shit? Give me my fucking fiat.
When you get out, that's the first man to call. Brian Birmingham.
What a coincidence.
He probably smells like Birmingham.
Yeah.
There?
Huh?
Oh, okay. It cut out. I wasn't sure if you were still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny because
I don't know if you.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you know, everything I filed with the courts, I've cited case law from federal judges. So how can I think that I'm smarter than everybody if I'm quoting other people? So I'm using their words, which would mean I didn't have this information for myself. I had to go to somewhere else to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And these are opinions from federal judges. I'm not a federal judge. I'm just a regular schmegular guy. Right? So how can you argue against us if I'm using what judges said?
Yeah.
You'd be arguing against all of those judges. You'd be arguing against case laws from the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. You know.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. The thing that interesting to me more is just the time that they're playing whatever they're playing. I don't know. I don't even know what the hell to call this thing. I don't even know what's going on right now. I don't know what's going on. People are home. I don't know what's going on, yo. I don't know.
You already know. As soon as the agents start talking, something's going to happen.
Yo.
Remember I brought that up? Every time Rami says something happens. It's just, you know, there's a warning going out. They gotta flood the vibes with their agents to distract people because there's something coming. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's bubbling.
Every time the agents open up their mouth, something's coming. Something's gonna happen, whether it's minor or major. And I just want to remind everyone that all praise has to be due to Allah because, like I said before, I can't stop bullets. And what happened on July 3rd was an act of God. That none of us died. And that not one bullet was fired.
Yeah.
And remember, they murder unarmed black men. But when it came to peacefully armed Moors, nobody died. No one. No one died.
Like you think that's
Guantanamo Bay.
You think that's the takeaway, that the non-believers or the 85ers or whoever should take from the whole situation? One of the.
I mean, that's one of them, yeah. That because like I said, there's been more that have been saying since like when I first started this and I first started talking about arms. They were saying, "Oh no, don't bear arms because they're going to send you to Guantanamo Bay." You know, they were scaring Moors like, "Oh, they're going to send you to Guantanamo Bay and torture you because you're a terrorist."
Yeah.
I'm in a county jail. Only federal courts have jurisdiction to charge for terrorism. I'm not in a federal court, so that was a lie.
Yeah.
Then Moors were saying, "Oh, if you go out armed, they're going to fucking shoot you down in the street." Well, we did a patrol in Pawtucket, and I called the police myself, and no one died.
Mm-hmm.
Then the July 3rd thing happened. No one died. So there's another lie. If we're terrorists, how are there Moors home? With the same exact charges. And they're trying to hit us with a joint venture. And we arrested at the same time.
Mm.
And they got fingerprints, and they did ballistic tests, and oh my God, there's an investigation and an indictment, but they're home.
Yeah, shit don't make sense, yo.
Look, it blows my mind, right? Because the Fourth Amendment says that, there shall be no search or seizure without probable cause. They can't even do a Terry stop without reasonable suspicion, right? And during the hearing, the Dangerson hearing in Malden District Court, the police said out of their own mouth when I asked them, "What is your probable cause?" They said, "I don't know." Now, according to the Super Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the non-colonial de jure state of Massachusetts, right, that these people believe in, their laws specify that probable cause must be determined at the time of the stop by the officer at the time of the stop. But in the prosecutor's statement of the quote-unquote facts and the probable cause narrative, the probable cause narrative, they got no information from Trooper Casey. It was based off of video footage. And then at the time of the stop, he said he didn't know what his probable cause was. So according to Massachusetts' own due process, you have to be on my side. That's just if you believe that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, is doing the right thing. That would mean that I have the right to due process. And that would mean that he violated that right to due process and this case should be dismissed. And if you just Google search a dismissal of an indictment based on the Fourth Amendment, you'll see that that is a thing. But I got 10 minutes. I got to cook this food in this garbage bag.
Yeah.
All right.
Give thanks, Juju.
Islam, yes. Peace, Morris.
Peace. Can't make this up. No probable cause, no nothing. Moore's still kidnapped. But Moors are also home. Moors are home? Moors been home since July? December. Oh, you still think? Because everybody should be kidnapped still if they're terrorists, right? Honest to all the Moors, you already know how Canaan Land Moors does it up. We always give you the exclusives. Don't forget, 12th annual Noble Drew Ali Day. You got the virtual lectures, virtual presentations, 11:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. January 8th. You got Rosmariah Bay, Eric Williams Bay, Kasir L, Sheldon L, and hosted by Cujo L. It's only 25 notes every year. You know what I mean? Same thing. You're going to get filled up. You already know you're going to get filled up. You already know you're going to get filled up. The PayPal, CanaanLandGuide@gmail.com. We'll take your email, put it aside, and then on the day of, you'll get sent your link so you can sit back with the Moors on Noble Drew Ali Day and get a good one. So if any Moors out there, oh yeah, and don't forget, for Canaan Land Moors, we're going to be doing the lotto to be able to attend at the temple. So we're just going to take all the emails, we're going to send out an email with all this. We're going to take all the emails, put them in the pot, and get a selection of 12 to 15, and then those people could be in attendance at the temple. We're going to have our chef do it up, get a little something, how we do for Drew Ali Day. So if you're not going to be able to be at the temple, if you're Moors, wherever you're at, find somebody's house. You know what I mean? Find somebody's house, do the potluck, everybody bring something, and have a 6 hours with Canaan Land Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Happy Holy Day. You already know it's every day. So honors to Venus. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to all the mothers. Peace and love to all the mothers. Free the rest of the Moorish militia. Free the rest of the Rise of the Moors. Drop all charges that you have on any Moors, anywhere. And happy Holy Day once again to all. Honors to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam Moors.